Welcome to our Ad Strategy Playbook, the podcast that dives deep into the high-stakes world of digital marketing. My name is Andrew, and I am the head of community here in the Create team. Today, we're cracking open the notes from confidential expert consultations, uncovering the shocking mistakes and brilliant strategies that separate fragile e-commerce stores from scalable powerhouses. This expert guide was provided by Sven Bouwman, an industry veteran who manages millions in ad spend for our internal brands like OptimalPrint. He recently sat down with several store owners grappling with the complexities of scaling their businesses, particularly on Google and Meta. And what he uncovered were common pitfalls that might be silently crippling your own ad performance. Let's start with one of the most terrifying discoveries, the deadly secret of broken tracking, the Google Ads tracking nightmare. One store owner came to Sven with a crisis. His Google Ads performance PMAX campaign had suddenly gone haywire. After accepting a simple recommendation from Google, his site traffic spiked by 165%, but sales only increased by 27%. His conversion rate had plummeted from near 1% to a tiny 0.2%. He was spending thousands on bad traffic. Sven's deep dive revealed the culprit: conversion duplication and budget mismanagement. First, the budget was being wasted. The PMAX campaign, meant to optimize across all Google channels, was suddenly funneling huge amounts of cash into utterly inefficient areas, particularly display ads. In one 7-day period, $6,000 went to display ads, yielding almost no revenue, while shopping and search were highly efficient. This display spending was simply draining the profit, meaning the underlying ROAS was actually much higher than what Google reported. But the problem was even deeper. Sven found that his Google Ads account was tracking sales multiple times. He had both the Google Analytics conversion and the Shopify Google App conversion set as primary purchase goals. Worse, primary goals were also set for add to cart and begin checkout. This meant that when one customer purchased one item, Google was registering it as 3, 4, or even more conversions. This gross miscalculation resulted in a falsely reported return on ad spend of over 2,000%. When the customer tried to put in a conservative target ROAS of 140%, Google's algorithm saw his actual return on ad spend of 2,000% and thought, wow, he wants a much lower return. Let's pump volume and burn through budget by serving low-quality, high-volume ads like display banners. The fix? Hygiene and recalibration. Sven's urgent recommendation for the holiday season was to immediately change the setup. For the key PMAX campaign, he advised setting the bidding strategy to maximize conversions, not conversion value, since that value was totally inflated. Most crucially, they had to move all duplicate tracking, like Google Analytics and add to cart events, to secondary observation mode, leaving only one conversion goal as primary: the Google Shopping app purchase. This ensures that one conversion in the interface equals one sale in the real world. Stressed that for any new campaign, e-commerce owners should always start with maximize conversions to simplify the learning process for the algorithms, only switching to maximize conversion value once they've reached about 50 purchases. Next, let's look at another store owner whose success was built on a fragile foundation. The customer was seeing the opposite spending split that Sven would expect. He was spending about $12,000 to $13,000 a week on Google, compared to only $1,000 a week on Meta. Sven typically expects something closer to a 50-50 split, or maybe even Meta being slightly higher. But the real risk lay in where that Google spend was going. The entire business was heavily reliant on the performance of a single product SKU, stock keeping unit, in the Google Merchant Center. This item had a powerful history, making it very hard for competitors to displace. Sven offered a blunt assessment. The business is pretty fragile and not very diverse. He warned that if Google were to choose to disapprove or suspend that single item for any reason, perhaps a price mismatch or a policy issue, they would be in trouble. The key takeaway for all e-commerce owners: diversify. Sven's core recommendation was simple. Don't mess with the profitable Google campaign, just let it run. But immediately diversify risk by scaling on Meta and testing channels like TikTok. The customer was hesitant to scale his Meta ads because he manually checked attribution and felt Meta's reported return on ad spend was inflated. Sven provided the playbook for confident scaling. 1. Trust the right numbers. Ignore the overall reported ROAS, which includes view-based conversions, where someone only looks at the ad but doesn't click. Instead, focus on the conservative 7-day click attribution. When the customer looked at this metric, his Meta ROAS was actually around 4.95, significantly better than his Google ROAS of 2.7. 2. Scale slowly, scale safely. This is critical. To avoid throwing the ad creative back into Meta's learning phase, never increase an ad set budget more than 10 to 15% per day. This gradual, methodical approach prevents sudden budget dips or spikes that confuse the algorithm. The customer, who previously tried doubling budgets and then reverting when performance was inconsistent, needed to introduce this daily incremental strategy. 3. Harness partnership ads. For creative scaling and overcoming ad fatigue, Sven strongly recommended using partnership ads. This strategy involves collaborating with micro-influencers, who might accept a product gift instead of monetary payment, to generate authentic, user-generated content, UGC. The posts are then boosted as a collaboration ad, showing both the influencer and the brand's name, making them look more like a natural post than a traditional ad, which drives excellent performance. This strategy is trackable and works on both Meta and TikTok. It's clear from these expert sessions that winning the e-commerce game isn't about finding a secret hack, but mastering the fundamentals and maintaining impeccable ad account hygiene. That's it for this week's episode. We want to thank Sven Bouwman for taking the time to share his expertise. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, don't wait until peak season is over. The time to act is now. I'm Andrew, and until next time, keep optimizing.